Hello all, this is Sai Gautam Dasaparavindra. Today I'm going to talk about movies data analysis. What are some of the insights we got from this data analysis and how we are going to leverage these results to guide the movies industry. In this presentation, we are going to learn about the movies industry and the data we used for our analysis and some of the unsupervised and supervised methods. Then we are going to conclude with some of the insights we found in our analysis. Introduction. First, let us see data science lifecycle working. It is an iterative process starting from data collection and applying pre-processing and analytical techniques and finally interpreting results. Why we chose movies industry? Movies industry mainly faces challenges such as predicting audience preferences and maximizing revenues. Why is data science needed here? Movies industry is rapidly changing with audience preferences, evolving market dynamics, and intense global competition. Some of the applications of data science in the movies industries include predicting box office performance, analyzing audience sentiments, and personalizing content recommendations. Here is an image of how the IMDb movie data dashboard looks like. With this data dashboard, we can draw many insights like what are some of the top revenue generating movies, most popular genres, what are some of the top 5 rated movies, and many other insights. And here is another image of the Netflix dashboard. We all know how a Netflix dashboard look like with all the recommended movies and shows for us. Introduction, pivotal role. So, data science is used in the movies industry to inform creative choices, marketing strategies, and release schedules through predictive analysis, analytics, and sentiment analysis. Some of the challenging problems include predicting movie success, understanding audience preferences, optimizing marketing strategies, and combating piracy. The main stakeholders benefiting from these data-driven insights for content creation, marketing, user engagement, and personal recommendations are filmmakers, producers, distributors, and streaming platforms. Impact and globalization. It minimizes risks and fosters innovation in storytelling. It also tailors content to specific cultural context for global audiences. The main objectives here we are trying to address are the predicting movie genres based on certain features in our data, understanding user genre preferences, and developing predictive models for commercial viability and personal content delivery. Let us understand about the data we use for our analysis. Before that, let us see how the data in voice industries helps us with the drawing insights. It provides insights into audience behaviors, preferences, and trends, guiding strategic decisions of industry stakeholders. The data used here for our analysis is drawn from the TMDB API. Our data has features, namely movie ID, name, title, genre, language, ratings, revenue, budget, and many other things. Here is an image of our raw data, which is drawn from the TMDB API. After applying necessary pre-processing and data cleaning techniques, here is how our clean data looks, and we stored it in a data frame for further analysis. Now let us see some of the unsupervised methods we performed on our data. First, clustering. Clustering is an unsupervised machine learning technique used to identify groups of similar data points based on certain characteristics from data. It is used to discover inherent patterns, structures, or relationships within data. There are mainly two types of clustering: partition clustering and hierarchical clustering. Partition clustering is used to divide data points into non-distinct or overlapping clusters. Hierarchical clustering divides the data points into more like a tree like a hierarchical structure. Partition clustering is efficient for large data sets, and hierarchical clustering is used for drawing better data relationships. Now let us look at some of the clustering results we got from our clustering analysis. So for this, first we implemented K-means technique to for different number of clusters for features like revenue, budget, and runtime. Upon visual inspection of each different number of clusters, we found that k equals to 4 gave us correct clustering for the data points. To validate this, we implemented silhouette method and album method. As we can see here, the silhouette method gave us k equals to 2 as the optimal number of clusters for for these features, and the album method gave us k equals to 4 as the optimal number of clusters, which can be seen as the elbow end as the elbow bend in the graph. Next, we did hierarchical clustering. So in hierarchical clustering, we used cosine similarity as the similarity metric and the Watts method as the distance metric. Here in the image, we can see that the hierarchical clustering also divided the data points into k equals to 4 number of clusters as the correct clustering. Next, association rule mining. What is ARM? So ARM helps us to discover relationships between items in data sets. It helps us to find frequent patterns and represent them as rules. Why it is needed? It helps us to uncover hidden patterns for informed decision making. How it works: it scans databases for item sets meeting support and confidence thresholds. It generates association rules based on item set frequency. Here in the image, you can see the main three metrics used for generating association rules, that is support, confidence, and lift. Now let us look at our ARM results. For generating these association rules, we use support as 0.02 and confidence as zero point 0.5. And these rules are based then sorted based on support, confidence, and lift. When sorted on support, we found that romance and drama movies are occurring more frequent together. When sorted on confidence, we found that the history genre movies are also likely to be more of a drama genre movies. When these rules are sorted on lift, we can see here the adventure and family genre movies are likely to be animation, and this association between these genres is very strong, which is justified by the highest lift metric, which we can see here. To further visualize and inspect our results, we plotted a network graph. The Here we can see the network in the network graph, the nodes represent the genres and the arrows represent the relationships between these genres. Next, let us see some of our supervised methods we performed on our data. Decision trees. So what are decision trees? Decision trees are hierarchical structures used for classifying or predicting outcomes. In the decision tree, the nodes represent features and branches represent decision paths. Why they are needed? Their intuitive visualization helps us for better understanding their versatile for various data types and tasks. Functionality. They split data in such a way to optimize information gain or minimize impurity. They recursively build trees until the stopping criterion is met. Let us understand the working of decision tree with an example here in the image. So here we are trying to understand the risk to prevent a heart attack. So here we are first we'll look at the age feature and we'll see different age groups. And based on these different age groups, we'll further look into features like weight and smoker and so on. And then we'll end up with a decision of whether the person is of low risk or high risk to a heart attack. Now let us see what is gene impurity, entropy, and information gain. Gene impurity measures incorrect labeling frequency. It identifies features for purer chain nodes. Entropy quantifies uncertainty. It guides feature selection for data splitting. Information gain measures dataset uncertainty reduction. It optimizes feature selection for accurate decision trees. So now let us look at our decision tree results. So in any supervised method, before running a model, we need to first split our data into training, testing, and validation. So here we split our data into 80%. Here we split our data into training data as 80% of our data, and 10% of our data as testing data, and other 10% of our data as validation data. So the decision tree model is run using these set of parameter combinations, and the optimal hyperparameters came out to be these. When the decision tree model is run on the test data, the test accuracy came out to be 73.08%. To further visualize and inspect our results from the decision tree model, we plotted confusion matrices for each genre. These confusion matrices help us to better understand the classification accuracy for each genre. Here in the image, we can see that the action column and the action genre and the romantic genre are more classified correctly. Naive bias. So naive bias uses Bayes theorem and assumes independence between features. It is fast and simple for classification tasks. Why they are needed? It is efficient with limited training data. It handles large data sets and real-time applications. It is easy to understand and implement. Naive bias works by calculating class probabilities based on feature values. It selects class with highest probability for classification. Here in the image, you can see how the probabilities for each class are calculated using the Bayes theorem. Next, our NB model is run on this set of parameters, and the optimal parameter came out to be this. So when the NB model is run on the test data, the accuracy came out to be 70.32%. Next, we drew confusion matrix for our NB model as well for different genres, and here also we can see in the images here that the action and romantic movies are classified more correctly. Next, support vector machines. Support vector machines are robust classifiers for diverse datasets. They optimize hyperplanes for maximal class separations. They accommodate various data types and complexities. They also ensure performance in complex data scenarios. They handle structured and unstructured data very effectively. They maximize margin between classes. They use kernels for nonlinear data separation. Some of the common kernels include linear, polynomial, RBF, and sigmoid. The SVM model is run on this set of parameters, that is kernels are linear, polynomial, RBF, and the cost function are these. And the optimal hyperparameters came out to be RBF kernel cost function as 1. The test accuracy of the SVM model on the test data came out to be 17.12%. So when the SVM model is also further visualized and inspected on the confusion matrix for each genre, we can see that here the SVM model classified um, romantic and thriller movies more correctly. Next, logistic regression. Logistic regression is statistical method for binary classification. It estimates the probability of a binary outcome. It also provides interpretable results and probabilistic predictions. It works similar to linear regression but predicts probabilities using logistic function. Linear regression models continuous outcomes while logistic regression models binary outcomes. So the logistic regression model is run on this set of parameters and the optimal hyperparameters came out to be these. When our logistic regression model is run on the test data, the test accuracy came out to be 72.36%. The confusion matrix drawn from the logistic regression model for each genre shows us that the action and the romantic movies are classified more correctly. Next, neural networks. Neural networks work in the same way as human brain structure. They are used for complex problem solving. They are used to learn intricate patterns in the data. Neural networks work by comprising of these interconnected layers of artificial neurons that process information. Some of the types are feed-forward, recurrent, and convolutional. Here in our analysis, we used feed-forward neural network. So the our FNN model is run on these parameter combinations, and the optimal hyperparameters came out to be these. Our FNN model, when run on the test model test data, it gave us test accuracy of 73.18%. So overall, when we look at the super model, the FNN model gave us the highest accuracy for predicting genre. Next, if this image shows the hand-drawn image of the FNN architecture for our data, you can see all the input layers, activation functions, the output layers, the hidden layers, the weight matrices as well. Now, if we look at the confusion matrices we drew from the FNN model, we can see that the action and romantic movies are classified more correctly. Conclusion. So let us see conclude our data science story. We started with predicting movie genres using data science. We obtained and cleaned data from TMDB. We explored supervised and unsupervised models. We interpreted results like with confusion matrices and prediction accuracies. We also presented findings with clear visuals. We communicated data science impact on the movies industry. Leveraging results. So these results can be leveraged to for designing recommendations for personalized content and also for creating better marketing strategies. Thus, main stakeholders who are benefited from these are filmmakers, distributors, streaming platforms, producers, and many other people. So overall, data science transforms the movie industry by driving innovation and enriching cinematic experience. Limitations. Limitations are some of the limitations in this industry are data quality, bias in the collected data, and privacy and ethics while handling sensitive information, and also predicting diverse audience preferences and addressing evolving consumption patterns and adapting to the changing market dynamics and keeping pace with the technological advancements happening. Some of the future scope which we can look up to in this industry is personalized viewing, tailoring content to preferences, and enhancing viewer immersion and adapting narratives instantly in real-time analysis, and anticipating trends accurately, meeting diverse audience demands, and also optimizing strategies and targeting audience effectively, and engaging global audiences and innovating. Here are the code files and code we used for our analysis. These are some of the references we used for our analysis. Uh, that's it. Thank you.